All right, so let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a look at the whole debate swirling around late night comedy. It's a conversation that's been bubbling up for a while now, but it really exploded recently thanks to some pretty sharp comments from an absolute legend in the game. And this quote right here, this is what's at the very heart of everything. When Conan O'Brien said this, it basically became the rallying cry for a huge critique of where late night is headed. So what exactly was he getting at? Well, let's unpack the whole argument that's got the comedy world talking. So, this didn't just happen on some random podcast. The setting was pretty prestigious, an interview at the Oxford Union. This is where Conan, a guy who's been in the late night trenches for decades, just kind of laid out his thoughts on the challenges comedy is facing today. And let me tell you, people read between the lines fast.
Now, to be clear, Conan didn't name any names. He never said, I'm talking about Stephen Colbert, or this is about Jimmy Kimmel. But a lot of people listening, critics, commentators, you name it, they immediately thought his words were a direct shot at the current guys on top. The argument is that they're the perfect examples of the trend he's describing.
And that brings us to the core of the whole critique. The big idea here is that the main goal of comedy has changed. That for some of these hosts, it's not really about being funny anymore, it's about being furious. Let's give it a name. We can call it the anger exchange. It's this theory that some comedians have basically traded their most powerful tool, actual humor, for just raw partisan anger. They've stopped writing clever jokes and have started, as some critics would put it, just yelling at the camera. And listen to how Conan himself puts it. He says a comedian's job is always to be funny, no matter how serious things get. For him, smart, well-written humor, good art, is the best weapon you have against people in power. Just screaming? Well, in his book, that's basically giving up your best tool. So why is this even happening? Conan actually offered a theory on that too. He explained that for classic satire to work, you need what he calls a straight line, a predictable reality you can make fun of. But today's political world, he says, is a bendy, rubbery line. Reality is so wild that it's often crazier than any joke you could write, which makes the job way, way harder. And this difficulty, at least according to the critics, has caused this huge shift. It's not just about the tone of late night anymore. It's about its entire reason for being. This chart really breaks down the perceived change pretty well. The argument goes that late night, then, the days of Carson or even Leno and Letterman, it went after everybody, both political parties, because the goal was to get a laugh. But now it's seen as mostly targeting one party, and the goal seems to be getting applause. And the result is comedy that feels less edgy and, well, more like a safe partisan rally. Okay, so why the big shift? This viewpoint suggests it all comes down to social pressure inside the entertainment world. The fear is that if a host makes fun of the wrong side, they're going to get labeled or even shunned by their peers. It just creates a climate where it's a whole lot safer to stick to the targets everyone agrees on. And this is where the argument moves from just opinions and feelings to cold, hard data. Critics point to the viewership numbers as the ultimate proof that, hey, maybe this new approach just isn't connecting with people. And man, these numbers tell a pretty dramatic story. Back in the Johnny Carson era, we're talking a massive 10 to 15 million people watching every night. Then it dropped a bit with Leno and Letterman, but it was still a super healthy 5 to 7 million. And today, the top hosts are often struggling to even break the 2 million mark. So if you put all that together, you're looking at a drop of over 80% from the genre's peak. Now look, obviously streaming and the way we watch TV has changed everything. That's a huge factor. But critics argue that a fall this steep means something else is going on. They believe the content itself is a huge reason why people are tuning out. But here's the thing, this whole conversation isn't really happening in a bubble. The critique of late night is seen as just one piece of a much, much bigger trend that's affecting all of entertainment. People who follow this see the same pattern everywhere. You've got Hollywood being accused of prioritizing the message over just telling a good story. You've got this pervasive culture of being afraid to offend anyone. And even giants like SNL and South Park have faced criticism for becoming too one-sided. It's all feeding this perception that one side of the political aisle has learned how to take a joke, while the other has not. So when you pull it all together, it really feels like we're at a crossroads. And not just for a couple of TV shows, but for the entire role of mainstream comedy in a society that's this divided. So really, it all boils down to this one central question. Has this art form kind of lost its way? Has late night forgotten that its number one job, first and foremost, is just to make a wide range of people laugh at the end of a long day? And that really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In the world we live in today, what is the ultimate purpose of comedy? Is it supposed to be an escape? Something that brings us together through a shared laugh? Or has it evolved, and is it now a weapon for persuasion, a tool in an ideological battle? The answer to that question might just decide the future of what we all find funny.